Our overnight forecast will include rounds of snow sweeping into the area with a winter weather advisory. Some of us could see 1 to 3 inches. We will track who gets what coming up for you.
A homeless man's death in Lexington is being blamed on the cold weather. What volunteers are now doing to keep those without a home warm.
He suffered a serious brain injury in a bicycle accident, but a Kentucky boy and his mother are now leading the effort to make sure other children are protected while on bicycles.
WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Good evening to you. Another round of snow is heading to the bluegrass just in time for tomorrow morning's commute. Much of Kentucky will be under a winter weather advisory.
And so we've declared a WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day to help you track the snow. We begin tonight with meteorologist Jim Caldwell. He has the latest forecast. Jim?
Yeah, the snow gets cranked up, especially into the overnight hours early tomorrow morning. And you mentioned it, right around that morning commute. And the problem is it might linger into the evening commute as well. Right now we're tracking maybe a few flakes out of this. And now if you look at it, you're like, oh my goodness, that is a good little shot of snow moving through the area. Now what's happened though is the air is very dry, so a lot of this doesn't reach the ground. Now you will run into maybe a snow shower or a few flakes, but generally it's not that impressive at the moment. Winter weather advisory, that's a little more impressive because it covers all of central and southeastern Kentucky included in on that mess as well as we go through the overnight and into the day tomorrow. Again, different expiration times on this, so tomorrow evening and tomorrow night, depending on your location. North, it'll be in the evening. Into the south, it'll be a little bit later on. And here is our official first call for snowfall, 1 to 3 inches around central Kentucky with lighter amounts to the south and east now, which is a very odd setup. Usually when we talk about this, we talk about higher amounts in the south, but most of the energy is going to pass through northern and central Kentucky quicker and lay snow at a rapid rate, so we're going to have a better chance to get in on some of those higher totals. And I'm splitting hairs here. We're talking about an inch or so, but I guess it does mean a big difference as far as travel is concerned. We're going to track it hour by hour and show you when to expect it in your area coming up in just a few minutes, guys.
Jim, thank you. Now, investigators in Lexington think that the cold weather overnight played a role in the death of a man they believe was homeless.
This comes as volunteers prepare to head out around the city again tonight, helping the homeless find a warm place to stay. Hillary Thornton continues our First Alert Weather Team coverage.
This morning, volunteers woke up to what they say was devastating news.
We're so sad that we lost one of our brothers from the street last night.
Just hours after they searched the city, checking on the homeless, giving rides to shelters, 41-year-old Robert Eugene Johnson died of hypothermia just behind Wildcat Warehouse in between a storage container and the building.
All of us as community need to look through the lens, not of judgment of yes, he was drinking or yes, he, was just one of those people on the street, but look at him as somebody's brother, somebody's son. He had value.
This afternoon, volunteers with Compassionate Caravan packed up donations of cold weather supplies, hitting the streets once again.
Someone passed away yesterday, so we're sending out extra, doing more tonight. We see somebody looks like they're cold, we're just going to give them some extra clothing until they can get to where they're going or give them a ride. They'll be here tonight, so maybe we'll stop back by when it gets dark, see if we can get them to come in.
Encouraging those without a home to stay in one of the city's shelters. In hopes they all do just that, volunteers are using the Catholic Action Center on 5th and Chestnut Street as an overflow location.
We've got a big mountain ahead of us today, tonight, tomorrow, because of this dramatic cold that's coming in. We have to be committed that no one else perishes on our streets because they did not have shelter.
In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
And we have a phone number for the Compassionate Caravan on WKYT.com.
It has been a calm winter for road crews in Lexington so far, but today they've been out on the city's major roads and streets pre-treating them for snow. Monique Blair talked to them about their preparations, and she joins us live now with the latest. Monique?
Well, Sam, the Fayette County Streets and Roads crews have been out since yesterday, pre-treating the roads out here in preparation for tomorrow's expected snowfall. Now, the county's current snow plan includes treating more than 1,200 lane miles, and crews have been out the past 2 days laying brine on many of the roads that are affected first by cold weather, such as main highways, bridges, hills, and overpasses. Brine, which is a liquid saltwater combination, is used when there isn't any rainfall expected. Brine is said to be more effective than rock salt when used before the snow actually falls. Using salt brines is also said to be more cost effective.
So it really allows us, the key to anti-snow and ice operations is to not let the precipitation bond to the asphalt, so that brine prevents, like ice compacting on the road. And as I said, it's really cheap, it's easy to put down.
Now you can see the salt barn here at the Streets and Roads Department in Fayette County is full, but I'm told this rock salt won't actually be put to use until the snow actually starts to fall. Reporting live in Lexington, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Monique, thank you, and stay on top of the snow and traffic with the WKYT Weather Plus Traffic app. You can download it for free in the app or Google Play stores.
Now to an update on some breaking news out of Fleming County tonight. State police tell us one person has died and a second person has been airlifted to the hospital after a house fire. The fire started at a home in the Wallingford community around 3 this afternoon. The name of the person who died has not been released. Firefighters are still trying to figure out what caused that fire. We want you to stay with WKYT.com and the WKYT News app for updates. An unusual sight outside a Lincoln County home led to a horrible discovery. After finding a woman lying in a front yard, investigators say they found her mother dead inside that home. This all happened this morning along Upland Drive in Stanford. Phil Pendleton has an update on the investigation into this mysterious chain of events.
It is not known what happened here, but people like Greg Snow say regardless of the circumstances, it's a tragedy.
A good family, they both had issues, but it's just a bad deal.
Police say 78-year-old Carolyn Tiller was found dead in the home's basement. She was discovered after a driver alerted authorities to another woman found in the front yard about 8:20 Monday morning. Officials say that woman is Tiller's daughter, who was taken to a Danville hospital.
To my understanding, the medical facility has actually evaluated her and she's alert and speaking this time.
Police have questioned the woman, but have not released her name. Snow says he knows both women.
From my understanding, there's been a situation or two that has arrived here, but I don't want to go into detail because I don't know the whole details.
Police say Tiller did have an injury, but it's not known if that had anything to do with her death. Neighbors say the death in such a normally quiet and peaceful part of town is very disturbing.
Well, that's really scary, really, because right next door, and it could have been us. So that's shocking.
Police say they're interviewing the daughter. Temperatures were in the teens when she was found, and it's not known how long she was outside. In Lincoln County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Police tell us they hope to know the cause of her death tomorrow after an autopsy. New tonight, a crash is tying up traffic on Interstate 75 in Lexington tonight. It happened late this afternoon in the northbound lanes near mile marker 103. Police say the crash involved a tanker hauling antifreeze, a truck hauling goats, and a car. No injuries were reported, but the tanker ended up on its side. At last check, northbound I-75 was down to one lane.
Riding a bicycle is something that most children here in Kentucky learn to do, and it's fun. But bike accidents also lead to thousands of visits to the emergency room, or worse. A Kentucky mother and her young son are leading an effort at the state capitol this week to make riding a bike safer and save you from their nightmare. The story is new at 6 tonight.
April 21st, 2010, around 5:30 p.m. in Prospect, Kentucky, in front of our old house out front.
Heather Floyd's sons often rode their bikes together.
His brother did a trick or stopped suddenly, and TJ, I guess, didn't realize and ran into the back of him and flipped over the handlebars and hit his head on the road, the concrete.
Neither boy had a bike helmet on.
So he's not bleeding?
No.
Any bruising? Any? Just looks like he's asleep?
Yes.
She wasn't sure TJ would live. He'd suffered a life-threatening brain injury.
He was in the, what they call the dying process. So, it was bad.
5 years and 7 surgeries later.
Ooh, what are these words? Brain ball and magnet.
Nice job. You came up with those words quick.
Today, 13-year-old TJ is still coping with brain damage from that accident. He just had surgery on both legs. His bones are growing, but not the muscles, so doctors had to stretch them. Casts are on both legs, but they don't stop TJ from getting around.
My thought process is for him to be able to dress on his own, which he can, bathe on his own, which he's getting there. Really, it's just getting out of the tub that's a safety issue for him. Getting in's okay. Putting his shoes and braces on, we're getting there on the braces.
TJ's mom still thinks about what if he'd worn a bike helmet.
As a parent, you don't really get rid of that feeling that you somehow hold responsibility for that, or if I had just known. And you know, no matter how many people tell you don't do that, don't beat yourself up, you still do it.
Dr. John Drowse, pediatric surgeon at Kentucky Children's Hospital, says a bike helmet can minimize brain damage.
Takes that shock of the trauma from the bike helmet and prevents that force being transmitted to the child's head and brain.
In Kentucky, bicycle accidents are the 4th leading cause of traumatic brain injuries for children 5 to 14 years. It's estimated bicycle helmets are 85 to 88% effective in minimizing head and brain injuries.
Broken bones heal. The brain is not as resilient as a broken bone, so it's much more serious to have a brain injury. Even a mild concussion can have long-lasting effects on a child because their brain is developing.
If passed by the legislature, TJ's bill would require children under 12 years old in Kentucky to wear a bike helmet when riding on public roadways and public bicycle paths. Heather hopes it saves another family from dealing with a child's brain injury.
I don't know that a helmet would have stopped the injury because of the impact. They thought he was hit by a car. It was that severe just from riding a bike. I do believe that it would have lessened the severity of it.
This Thursday, TJ and his mother will be in Frankfort for a news conference with Representative Joni Jenkins out of Louisville to talk about the bike helmet bill. If it's made law, a parent could be fined $25 for their child not wearing a bike helmet. First-time offenders would be able to buy a helmet, and by showing proof of that, the charge would be dismissed and no fine issued.
UK basketball coach John Calipari has responded to a story linking him to an NBA coaching job. What he said today in just 10 minutes.
But first, Wednesday's record-setting Powerball jackpot soared again today.
And we could see some snow during the overnight hours tonight. Some accumulation possible. We'll track those chances.
Young or old, all over Kentucky, we all stand for the same Commonwealth. A Commonwealth of families, natural beauty, and a pride in ourselves. I'm WKYT's Rebecca Smith, and I stand for Kentucky.
Our cancer patients are really special people. They're determined, they're tough, and they're such wonderful people to care for. It's really great to offer patients the standard of care, but then we have trials so that we can also give them the cutting edge, where we explain to the patient this is the standard, but this might be even better. Because of the excellent work we do, we've received an outstanding award from the Commission on Cancer. I'm Dr. Hain, and we treat every one of our patients like family at Baptist Health.
The Harlem Globetrotters! This is where you won't believe becomes you'll never forget.
Coming to Rupp Arena this Saturday at 7. Great seats at the arena box office or Ticketmaster.com.
There's just something special that makes Simple Truth and Simple Truth Organic a natural part of every family. Great food is something all generations can enjoy together. And you'll find hundreds of smart choices, even brand new products for baby and your home. Just look for the Simple Truth green circle on the label. Simple Truth, putting simple within reach. Right now, save up to $40 with digital coupons at simpletruth.com.
Are you planting a tree? Are you digging a garden? Are you digging a swimming pool? Are you putting up a mailbox? Always call 811 before you dig. It's not just a good idea, it's the law. Columbia Gas of Kentucky.
Filters in cigarette butts are not biodegradable like an apple core. They can take up to 25 years to decompose. Please don't trash the bluegrass.
Remember the feeling you got when you did something you didn't know you could do? Get that feeling again.
Everyone loved your proposal. You won our business.
With a degree from Indiana Wesleyan University, you just might surprise yourself with what you can accomplish. Visit iwulexington.com to explore our courses. IWU, anything is possible.
This is Brett Melrose. With winter almost here, the experienced team at Fayette Heating and Air stands ready to serve you, dedicated to keeping you and your family comfortable around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, with no additional overtime fees ever. Fayette Heating and Air, we're the biggest because we're the best, and we're here for you anytime, day or night. Call 233-0424. Fayette Heating and Air, complete home solutions.
Snow chances arrive overnight and through the day tomorrow. We will run into snow showers. We will likely run into some snow squalls as well as this presses through the area. So a very wintry forecast taking shape here over the next couple of days. Temperatures out there right now are still steady in the upper 20s and low 30s, just depending on your exact location. You look in Covington, by the way, now down into the mid-20s, so one of the cooler spots around. You can see more of that southerly flow. That's what these little white lines are suggesting, showing that we're getting at least a southerly wind out of this and maybe adding a little extra moisture to the mix as well. Our winter weather advisory kicks off overnight early tomorrow morning. Again, location means everything in this particular setup. And then it lasts through the evening and into the nighttime hours on Tuesday as well. Right now on our Defender Radar Network, we are tracking a little teeny tiny band of some snow, maybe a few flakes of snow getting out of this, being squeezed out of this at least, and a little bit more likely coming our way as we advance through the overnight. Now that's going to come from upstream though, well off to our north, where we'll have more energy, area of low pressure coming together, and then you've got an extended cold front that's out from it, and that will get on the move and press the snow chances into our area tonight and really enhance it as well. Here's the way that takes shape here. Hour by hour forecast. You watch the snow drop in on us overnight, early tomorrow morning, right around the morning commute, and continues to work its way through the area for not only the morning commute, but the evening commute as well. As you get into that 3 to 5 o'clock time period, we start tracking more snow through central and eastern portions of Kentucky. But it wraps up for our friends in eastern Kentucky. Usually they get what we call that upslope snow, which causes it to linger for what seems like forever. The flow changes rapidly, so we're not going to see that upslope snow effect across southeastern Kentucky this go around. It's going to be more geared toward the folks in West Virginia and that branch of the Appalachian Mountains. And then just plain old cold. Here's what we're calling for with snow. 1 to 3 inches through central Kentucky. We're talking northern Kentucky as well. They might actually get in on a little bit more, so they'll be higher on our total map here, probably closer to that 3 inch. And then the rest of us will come, of course, within that range. 1 to 2 to our south and east because they wrap the snow chances up a little bit earlier so they don't have to deal with it quite as long as the rest of us will have to around here. So not only are we dealing with that, we're dealing with the cold that follows. Look at our wind chill forecast because our numbers are impressive, but our wind chill is even more impressive. We go through Tuesday, and by the time we get into the afternoon and evening, we're talking single-digit wind chill readings. So when you walk outside, that's what you're going to be prepared for, or you should be prepared for, because that's what's going to punch you in the face. That kind of cold around here. And then early on Wednesday morning, low single digits, and even the possibility that some of these, not shown on the particular model run, but with the wind around and the temperatures dropping like they're expected to, you could bet that at least a few of us will run into some of those sub-zero wind chill readings early on Wednesday morning. And very cold through the day as well, only in the low and mid 20s for most folks. We'll get a brief little spike in temperatures. That'll come on Friday as we get back into the 40s there with the rain arriving late in the day. And then immediately behind that system, temperatures tank again. We start talking snow and single-digit actual air temperatures coming with teens during the daytime hours.
Well, on that note, we'll take that brief spike that comes right there in the middle.
Yeah, those upper 30s, 40s, that'll feel really nice
Yes, it
compared
will.
to that. Yeah.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay.
All right. Well, how high will it go? It's already a world record, but today the Powerball jackpot, it went up again.
Wednesday night's jackpot now stands at $1.4 billion. No one has won the Powerball jackpot since early November. 4 people in Kentucky, though, did win $50,000 each from Saturday's drawing. One of the tickets was sold at the Meyer gas station in Richmond. That's billion with a B. I feel like we have to keep saying that.
That's the first time we've ever had to say that with this. Well, Coach Cal downplays the latest story connecting him to the NBA.
We have been through this before. Calipari responding today. He spoke first on Twitter, then on the SEC teleconference. Stay with us. That's next in sports.
WKYT First Alert Weather is brought to you by Lexington Athletic Club.
Wait, don't buy furniture now because a big secret is coming. Starting Friday, Ashley Home Store is having a sale so epic. We're closing on Thursday to prepare. Huge savings for every room. Incredible finance offers. Ashley Home Store Secret Sale is back. Do not miss it.
There's just something special that makes Simple Truth and Simple Truth Organic a natural part of every family. Great food is something all generations can enjoy together. And you'll find hundreds of smart choices, even brand new products for baby and your home. Just look for the Simple Truth green circle on the label. Simple Truth, putting simple within reach.
Right now, save up to $40 with digital coupons at simpletruth.com.
You can't be prepared for everything. Then again, maybe you can. Capable, adaptable, Lexus all-weather drive. Conquer the weather. Don't let it conquer you. Lease the 2016 IS 300 all-wheel drive for $349 a month for 36 months. See your Lexus dealer.
Ciao. I'm Sam Dick, inviting WKYT TV viewers to join me on a tour to classic Italy, October 8th to the 16th. We'll cruise the timeless canals of Venice by gondola, tour the Renaissance works of art in Florence, and discover the world-famous landmarks of Rome, including the renowned Colosseum and Trevi Fountain, plus a special visit to Vatican City. All airfare and great hotels included. For your free brochure, call Holiday Vacations at 1-800-826-2266.
Did your family set a goal to become healthier in the new year? One family did and lost 300 pounds at Ageless. Bruce lost 92 pounds, Adam lost 64 pounds, and Catherine lost 151 pounds. For a medically supervised, affordable weight loss solution, call Ageless today for a free consultation.
Hey, we did it. We did it. We won. Our numbers won! Let me see that ticket.
Well, it was Kathy's turn to buy the ticket.
I had to work a double. Bill said he'd get him.
I had bowling. Late night. Yeah. So Daryl said he'd get him.
Didn't get my text?
Pickle the chickens?
No. Pick up the tick.
The only way you can win Kentucky's Powerball or Mega Millions jackpot is if you actually buy your ticket.
Look into the sky with all the beautiful color, but there's more than just for me, so gonna share it with another. I got to show, to give, let out. I want to sing and shout. Take a look and say, oh, 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 oh.
Wait, don't buy furniture now because a big secret is coming. Starting Friday, Ashley Home Store is having a sale so epic. We're closing on Thursday to prepare. Huge savings for every room. Incredible finance offers. Ashley Home Store Secret Sale is back. Do not miss it.
John Calipari playing down the Yahoo story that connected him to the Brooklyn Nets coaching job. This morning on Twitter, the coach said, "You may have heard me say this before. I absolutely have the best coaching job in sports, and I plan on being at Kentucky for a long time. I am not negotiating with anybody. My total focus is on this team and winning the next game." Later on the SEC teleconference, he explained why Kentucky is the best job.
Anytime you can have a championship culture, anytime
you can be in the hunt for championships, or in this case in college in recruiting, you have one of the best jobs. You don't have to put fans in the seats. You don't have to raise money. Just coach basketball. It's a great job and one that I appreciate having, and humbled to be here.
Calipari says he doesn't want a redshirt Ty Wynyard. The 6'10 Wynyard has yet to play for the Cats. He said today he's not feeling any pressure, but he does need to get in better shape.
It's a lot more running and stuff than back home, so yeah, I was a little bit out of shape, but I'm getting back in shape now. Coach Payne is working with me a lot, and he's got me back in shape now, so I'm feeling really good. I guess I just have to keep seeing where I am, you know, just keep working out, doing the best I can to help the team get better, get stronger, you know, just pushing everyone around and just trying to assert my dominance, my physicality and stuff. So I guess just I'll be ready whenever he calls upon me.
Well, maybe tomorrow night, the Cats and a struggling Mississippi State team go at it in Rupp Arena. Mississippi State has not won on the road this season. It'll be a 7 o'clock tip Tuesday on ESPN. The Wildcats dropping 4 spots in the latest AP poll, down to 14th following the loss at LSU and then their win at Alabama. Kansas and Oklahoma remain 1-2 in the poll. SMU at 10, South Carolina at number 19, the only remaining undefeated teams in the country. Kentucky football's future will be determined by the recruiting classes that Mark Stoops and his staff are able to bring in. The 2016 class anchored by a trio of homegrown talent. Saturday, Landon Young, Drake Jackson, and Cash Daniel taking part in the Army All-American game down in San Antonio, Texas. All 3 Kentucky boys on the West team that picked up the win. The trio has already developed a close bond as they begin their college careers this week.
All 3 of us being, you know, national level players, us being able to go to all these camps, these games and everything, it just really builds our bond. And we're pretty much like the base for that 2016 class. And, you know, we help a lot of other guys come into this class and keep it strong.
They've created a great atmosphere. And, you know, we're the biggest fans of Kentucky. Like I said, we grew up there, grew up as fans, so we can't wait to get there and wear the blue and white.
So they are enrolling and will be at UK for the spring semester. Sam Amber, back to you.
Thank you, Rob. A final check of your First Alert forecast is next.
Then on the CBS Evening News, a tribute to rock legend David Bowie and his iconic career that spans 6 decades.
WKYT's First Alert Weather follows you wherever you go, on TV, online, on your phone, and throughout the day on News Radio WLAP.
The candidate from Cartown Kia can give people $8,000 off new Kia Optimas. What can you offer?
Well, we have yesterday's coffee.
There's no debate. Get $8,000 off MSRP on all select new 2015 Kia Optimas in stock at Cartown Kia. Take home a new 2016 Kia Sorento SUV for only $189 per month. And if you have a job bringing home $350 per week, we want to approve your credit.
We can do credit. We don't do credit.
Don't debate it. Get to Cartown Kia.
Are you happy with your bathroom? I wasn't. I thought I didn't have the money until I learned about Bathfitter. Bathfitter puts a new bathtub right over your old one. Isn't that amazing? Bathfitter will measure and install right over your existing tub. And only Bathfitter has seamless walls, which guarantees a watertight fit. Plus, they do it all in just one day. That's my favorite part. Book a free consultation and find out for yourself. Call today or learn more at bathfitternow.com.
Yeah, I can't believe this DQ $5 lunch comes with fries, drink, and a sundae.
Can't believe it now comes with this KC barbecue burger.
I can't believe Randy's barbecuing.
Oh! It's barbecue season at DQ with the new KC Barbecue Bacon Cheeseburger $5 lunch. You need a breakfast built for work days, not weekdays. The chicken and gravy breakfast burrito from your DQ. A chicken strip plus eggs, cheese, and pepper gravy in a warm flour tortilla. Served with crispy hash browns and coffee. Just one of our delicious $3 breakfasts. Only at your DQ.
The world is a pretty big place. Yet somehow, we're all connected. Somehow the world is at our fingertips. Now, more than ever, in the stylish Toyota Corolla. With Entune audio, Bluetooth, and backup camera all standard. Corolla tunes into the rest of the world like no other car in its class. Now, lease a Corolla for $159 a month with $15.99 due at signing. Stay connected. Toyota. Let's go places.
Oh, man, these wings look good.
Yeah, the spicy honey barbecue sauce is so good, it'll change your life.
Sir, it looks like we're leading in the polls.
You're running for president?
Don't answer that.
Life-changing? Maybe. Indescribably good? Definitely. The boneless wings meal with spicy honey barbecue sauce, served with crinkle fries and a small drink. Zaxby's. Indescribably good.
He's been turned down. Commence operation. Hey! You need a car.
I got turned down for credit.
Turned down for what?
For credit.
Sorry, earwax. Turned down for what?
Credit!
Drive time won't turn you down, regardless of credit.
Cool.
Save yourself. Get approved at Drive Time First. Call, click, or visit.
All right, got to get through tonight, and then tomorrow morning could be real tricky for a lot of folks.
The leading edge of this gets in here and could start laying some of that accumulating snow, so we start tracking those chances tomorrow, and then it lasts through the day. So this could be a morning commute, evening commute kind of issue for you. The good news is that the folks will be out battling wide open as far as the crews are concerned to get the roads clear for you if it becomes a major issue. So the evening commute might not be quite as bad, but it could be here all day, guys.
And it doesn't take much ice to cause a huge problem.
You know, we had that over the weekend with a little skiff of snow, so just imagine what this could do.
Yeah.
You're right.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We'll see you at 11.